ya mwisho.
Thank you very much, Professor. Please, let's take our seats. Asanteni sana. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, Deputy President, First Lady, Minister, teachers, students, and all the participants, good afternoon. Hamjambo. It gives me immense pleasure and joy to join you at the 97th Kenya Music Festival State Concert, where we celebrate the extraordinary talent, creativity, and cultural expression of our learners from across the nation. These performances are not just a showcase of artistry. They are powerful tools of education, unity, and national development. Critically, the art and performance industry are vital pillars of job creation for our young people. This year's theme, enhancing the creative economy through artistic expression for sustainable development, could not be more timely or relevant. Across the world, the arts and entertainment sectors are emerging as solid sources of income and formidable new frontiers for wealth creation. Ladies and gentlemen, our creative and entertainment sector currently contributes only 5% to our GDP and only 0.25% to our total wage employment. This means we are only scratching the surface. With the right investment and policy support, this contribution can rise all the way to 30% in the very near future. The government has put in place robust policies and initiatives to promote the music and arts industry, recognizing its potential to create jobs, promote culture, foster national unity, and contribute meaningfully to our economy. When I was elected in August 2022, only 4 countries were monetized. Only 4 African countries were monetized on Facebook, and Kenya was not one of them. After determined negotiations between the government of Kenya and the top leadership of Facebook, the company honored its commitment, and today, Kenya is among the select few countries whose creators are paid for their original content on the platform. We fought hard and won, and we are not stopping here. Next month, during my visit to New York for the United Nations General Assembly, I will meet leaders of major global technology companies to expand collaboration for the benefit of our creators. This includes integrating M-Pesa into Facebook's payment system to make payouts faster, easier, and more accessible. I will also be asking Google to enable Kenyans to purchase adverts via M-Pesa, a change that will benefit both creatives and micro, small, and medium enterprises selling their products online, creating a win-win situation for Kenya and for YouTube, which will enjoy more transactions on its platform. Our creatives are also monetizing content on X, formerly Twitter, and YouTube, which have now increased payouts to Kenyan producers. I have directed all ministries, departments, and agencies to prioritize advertising on the digital platforms to grow our digital economy, create jobs, and increase incomes for our creatives. This is the context. The more we advertise online, the higher our content is weighted, and the more our creatives will earn. We have no excuse, therefore, not to advertise online. Mr. Chairman, earlier this year, we hosted the inaugural US-Kenya Creative Economy Forum, a milestone whose impact will soon be felt across the creative industry. Next month in the United States, I will meet with the Recording Academy, organizers of the Grammy Awards, to fast-track plans for establishing world-class studios here in Kenya and to set in motion the journey towards eventually hosting an African edition of the Grammy Awards in Nairobi. As usual, there are those who doubt, the cynics who question everything we do. But as we have always done, we will answer them with tangible outcomes that benefit Kenyans. The Grammy team has already expressed interest in anchoring their presence within our new Talanta Stadium in Nairobi. To this end, I am directing the Ministry of Youth and Creative Economy to expedite all outstanding steps to deliver a truly state-of-the-art creative experience for our artists, producers, and innovators right here at home. Furthermore, the Government of Kenya has established the State Department for Creative Economy under the Ministry of Youth Affairs to focus on developing the creative industry, including music, film, fashion, and the performing arts. Beyond this, I have set up a coordination and advisory unit within my office to direct and connect creatives directly to the presidency. This formalizes our commitment to treating creative talent as a strategic national development resource. The creative industry will be a major pipeline for jobs in the very near future. In addition, the Government of Kenya is steadily implementing the competence-based education framework under which music, drama, and visual arts are part of the curriculum from early years to senior school. In fact, arts and talent-driven careers will be a distinct pathway in senior school beginning January next year. This financial year, through the Teacher Service Commission and the Ministry of Education, we are undertaking a Kenya shillings 950 million retooling program to ensure we have the human resources to identify, nurture, and guide artistic talent from a young age. I want to agree with those who have made the presentation ahead of me that we have been going through a journey of reforming our education so that it meets the requirements of the marketplace. It meets the requirements of the Vision 2030 that we are focused on. And the reform of the education has been work in progress. I remember when I was Minister of Education in 2009, we transitioned from the education system that we had that time and mainstreamed technical training colleges and technical training education. I am very happy that again, as a country, we are continuing to work on our education reform, and that this time round, under the competence-based education and training, where we started with competence-based curriculum, and we had many challenges, and we had many questions, and there were a bit of confusion as to where this was going to go, and Kenyans were asking themselves, which way education in Kenya? I am very proud that today, our professionals in the education sector, working with the Ministry of Education and working with the Government of Kenya, we now have a clear pathway that points to the future of our education in a meaningful and comprehensive way. That now we will have 3 pathways that is going to harness the talent and the pool of knowledge that is necessary for us to drive our education into the future. The STEM subjects are important, the social sciences are important, the arts and creatives are equally important. And that is why I've said beginning January next year, those pathways will be available for all our students so that we can grow this society in a wholesome manner. Mr. Chairman, music brings joy. I didn't, however, know, I have learned from you, that when everything else stops, there will be music in heaven. I didn't know particularly that part, but now I am informed. But it must also bring musicians dignity and comfort. I have met musicians from various regions and genres, and their complaint is always the same. The issue of royalties has been stuck in endless cycles of debate for far too long. That we must bring to an end. The Kenya Copyright Board must now take decisive action and resolve the collective management organization standoff once and for all. I am pleased to report that Kenya Copyright Board is now enforcing the requirement of 70% of royalties to go directly to artists, and that non-compliance will lead to loss of licenses for those who are involved. I further direct the board to implement a digital royalties system on the e-citizen platform without delay, even if it requires legislative changes. We must get rid of middlemen and brokers that are earning more money than the artists themselves. We cannot postpone action on something that directly benefits the very people whose music we all celebrate. The time to act is now, and this matter must be brought to conclusion this year. Ladies and gentlemen, the black tape levy has already collected 100 million shillings, which will go directly to supporting the creative industry. I have directed the Kenya Copyright Board to finalize fair distribution guidelines in line with the recent judicial rulings. And timely and ultimately, creatives must receive at least 70% of the proceeds from their work. The government has rehabilitated cultural centers such as the Kenya National Theatre, Bomas of Kenya, and regional hubs to provide affordable spaces for performance and training. We are exploring proposals to build additional cultural centers using funds from the housing levy. Counties are encouraged to establish creative industry hubs and to decentralize talent development. Mr. Chairman, what we have seen and heard today strengthens our conviction that our schools and learners must begin to earn from their talent and creativity. Until now, the situation has been unfair and outdated. To watch their own performances, artists have had to travel to Nairobi, select their pieces, and pay 1,000 shillings for a DVD that is their own work. Last year, I committed to create an online distribution platform for school drama and music performances. Today, as you have heard from the leadership of e-Citizen, we are keeping that promise. The platform will be live on e-Citizen, enabling students, parents, and fans to download performances instantly for less than Kenya shillings 250 shillings without having to travel to Nairobi, down from the previous 1,000. This is a bold leap forward, replacing DVDs with instant digital access and marking the first step towards building Kenya's own Netflix for local production. This initiative will enhance accessibility, promote creativity, and showcase Kenya's rich cultural heritage, both locally and globally. The Kenya National Drama and Film Festival and the Kenya Music Festival will benefit greatly as their visibility will grow, their audience will expand, and the work of our artists will reach far and beyond our borders. Art thrives when there is a strong consumer base, and not just the performers. We must take it easy to consume. We must make it easy for us to consume our own entertainment. I welcome the latest judicial decision upholding the direct payment of Skiza earnings to musicians, cutting out middlemen as the new law requires. However, we have noticed in the past that the artists end up with a short end of the stick. It is now provided in law that up to 52% should be paid to the artists, not 30%, as is the case at the moment. I challenge network providers to review their revenue splits and give a fair share to the artists whose talent drive their platform's success. I am aware that the Creative Economy Support Bill 2024 and the Culture Bill 2024 are before Parliament. I urge both the National Assembly and the Senate to fast-track their passage into law. These laws will unlock grants through the Creative Fund that is going to be put in place by this legislation. It will also provide credit guarantees, offer fiscal and tax incentives to attract major film productions, and help creatives register and defend their intellectual property, both at home and abroad. As you are all aware, we haven't benefited sufficiently from film production because the regime that has existed, the legal regime that has existed, was rigid. With these two pieces of legislation before Parliament, we intend to make it easier, we intend to make it possible for large filmmakers who currently are shooting elsewhere to shoot in Kenya. And therefore, I am asking Parliament to expedite the passage of this legislation so that our creatives here at home can become part of the film industry that is thriving globally. Let me also say that already we have the Kenya Academy of Sports. And therefore, the request that we create a pathway and we create an academy where the performers who are here, the talented performers who are here, can channel their training, can have a pathway of training and knowledge acquisition and learning that takes them to the apex. I am directing the Ministry of Education to immediately review the Kenya Academy of Sports and expand it to be the Kenya Academy of Arts, Creatives, and Sports, and provide the necessary funding so that we can begin to put in place the necessary infrastructure that will support the three pathways. Now that we have a clear pathway of arts and creatives and sports, it is equally necessary that we put in place the necessary infrastructure to support its development so that from primary school to secondary school to higher education all the way, there must be a clear pathway and clear infrastructure to support the development of this very critical sector that has been said will speak to the soul of our nation and speak to us in ways that words and other disciplines cannot speak to us. As I conclude, I congratulate all who have performed at this state concert and urge you to remain humble, disciplined, and focused. You have a bright future if you combine talent with patience and hard work. I wish you all the very best as you join your families and enjoy the remainder of the school holidays. Asanteni sana na Mungu awabariki. Thank you very much. I must congratulate my good friend John, the guy of the violin. I had to seek the support of my daughter for me to understand what was going on, because I was a bit old-fashioned.